All right, good morning, everybody. You are with Go Wellness Webinars, and this is Cade Archibald speaking, and we're excited to have you guys on today. So, I got with me Reagan Archibald, surprise. Um, and we're going to be, Reagan's actually got some really cool content on how to produce some medical referrals and everything. And um, so I think this should be really beneficial and really anyone can use this regardless of what services you offer. It's great to get referrals from doctors, from different medical offices, because a lot of times they get stuck and don't know where to send their patients, and we are always in holistic medicine or more natural medicine areas. There's always good options, and I think a lot of times we assume doctors aren't necessarily on our side or anything like that, and a lot of times it's the opposite. They're looking for another option and another source for someone, and so I think this is going to be great info. So before we get started, I want to make sure I take care, or I get everybody ready and excited for this weekend. So Friday we got structural alignment, acupuncture, and spinal injections training. That'll be from 1 to 5, March 31st. That's at the Salt Lake City Clinic in East West. That's the East West Clinic. And then Saturday and Sunday we have the healthcare entrepreneur and functional medicine training. We're going to have two separate rooms for more staff, marketing, business systems side, and then also the practitioner learning sides for different protocols and implementation of functional medicine. So this is going to be one of our best events yet. We always strive to beat the last one, and so we're sure as hell going to beat it. So you guys get there. If you haven't registered yet or you don't have all the details you'd like, email at info@gowellness.com. If for some reason no one's responding to you, you can pick up the phone and you can just you can call me personally, 435-406-1752, and let's figure out how to get you there and get you ready to rock and roll. So Reagan, you ready to rock, man?
You
All right. So I'm going to turn it over to Reagan, and he's going to be uh, getting some great stuff to you guys today. So Reagan, take it away.
okay? Hey everybody. I'm more than happy to have some interaction here, but I wanted to share with you a little story that happened to me, like literally about 2 weeks after I opened my practice. I was sitting around my clinic and I was like, you know what? This is pretty boring. I like to work hard. I like to be productive. I like to help a lot of people. I had a big purpose. I just invested a lot of money in an education, and as many of you have, and then I also invested a lot of money into getting my first clinic built out. I remodeled it. I made it look sharp and tight, because image is so important in your clinic. And so I had everything kind of set up as a little two-bedroom place. The criteria that I used is, well, how much money can I make in a day? And at the time, I was charging $60 an acupuncture treatment, which felt like a lot back then, but I was charging $60, and I said, okay, how many patients could I see in a day? And I said, well, I could see 10 patients in a day. I could work 10-hour days and take an extra day off or whatever is how I thought about it in my mind. So this place I found was $600 for rent. It was 2 bedrooms, had a little reception area, or 2 treatment rooms, a little reception area, and it was a perfect place to start. And so as I was sitting in that little clinic off Foothill Drive, for those of you who have been to Salt Lake, I just was like, man, I wonder how people are gonna know about me, and so I hung like a big sign up front, thinking, all right, people have got to come. There's a little bit of traffic, but I'm in like this neighborhood, really quaint area, in Salt Lake 23rd. It's on 13 South and 23rd East. Cool area, but the problem is, that's not going to get people in the door. They're not going to look at a sign. And I was treating, my friends and my family, but I needed some income. I also, you really wanted to launch my practice. And so one of the very first things I did, and this led to my very first new patient in this particular clinic, and is I went to this place called Foothill Family Clinic. It's pretty big. They do primary care and pain management, things like that. And met a Dr. Henry. And so I essentially, when I went into the clinic, I did not know what to expect. And so I went in there and I said, hey, I'm an acupuncturist, and I'm just want to let you guys know I'm here. I want to talk to some of the doctors if they're available. And, I'm in my 20s. This was right when I started, and I was scared shitless, because I was like, I have no idea what to expect. Yeah, I didn't know how I'd be greeted. Anyway, what she did is she gave me this badge that looked, and it looked like I was a pharmaceutical rep. I mean, it was just like a pharmaceutical rep badge, and that's all they had. And they said, well, all you need to do is go stand out in the hallway, and when the doctors come out, you just start talking to them in between patients. And if they have a minute and they want to talk to you, then they'll sit down and they'll give you an opportunity to talk to them. And so I said, all right, I want to do it. And they gave me the badge, and into the rodeo I went. And I had a couple doctors. I waited. It's kind of introduced myself. Hey, I'm Reagan Archibald. I'm an acupuncturist. I'm your neighbor over here. And they said, oh, great, great, thanks. And they go into the room, and then, this Dr. Henry comes out. And Dr. Henry, I said, hey, I'm Reagan Archibald. I'm an acupuncturist. I'm just looking to create some relationships in the community. I'm your neighbor over here. Do you have a minute I could talk to you about? And he said, absolutely. I love acupuncture. And I sat down and I talked to Dr. Henry. He took me into his office, and we just, he was very warm and generous with his time. I didn't realize what a big player he is in the medical world until later, but he was generous enough to sit down with me, and he talked about his daughter's experience. His daughter had migraine headaches, and the migraine headaches were so severe that when she was 14, she actually killed herself. She committed suicide. And that was, about 10 years before Dr. Henry and I had met. And so one of the things that he's looked at for his migraine patients is acupuncture. And he said all the treatments that he does for migraines, he's very passionate about helping people get over this debilitating thing because of what happened to his daughter. And so he went on to just really, be grateful that I showed up, telling me how we need more acupuncturists. The medical field does not have answers when it comes to migraine headaches. That was kind of his primary focus in the conversation. And then he asked me, can I get some cards? And I gave him a card, and he said, no, I need a stack of cards. And so I was like, oh, yeah, absolutely. And, amateur me was just like, here you go. But he ended up sending me patients who had migraines, and they would come down. He actually sent me a chiropractor who was a patient of his, and this chiropractor ended up referring people. He sent me a nurse. Her name was Kim. I still remember. She was my very first patient, my real patient. And then he just, over the years, he'd just send, 2, 3 people every single month. And it was incredible because I had this relationship with Dr. Henry. And then when I'd have patients who come in, and I'd see on their intake form, oh, your primary care doctor, I'm friends with Dr. Henry. And it's lent this great relationship. I don't talk to Dr. Henry much now. I mean, we've communicated back and forth via email a few times over the years, but just that 5-minute conversation where we were able to really connect. It led to multiple patient interactions, multiple patient referrals, and it lent to more credibility, connections. It gave me a huge platform to build my practice on, and it didn't cost me a single penny. And so today I'm going to talk about kind of a new system that we're going to be launching here, and it's how you can 10 times your credibility, your connections, your referrals and relationships with our new medical referral program. And this is something that, yeah, it's always going to be a work of art. I've got Kanye here. He says, my greatest pain in life is that I will never be able to see myself perform live. Now, when I'm talking about this medical referral program, you have to go in there with 100% confidence. You have to believe in yourself, just like Kanye believes in himself, or just like an Olympic athlete, Michael Phelps. I mean, these guys, it's 100% confidence in their ability. And so, when you go into a medical referral program, you're not going to do what I did on that first interaction with Dr. Henry. I mean, it turned out to be effective, but I find that doing something, even if you do it wrong or you don't follow all the steps, is going to be so much more valuable than doing nothing at all and just sitting in your clinic and scrolling through Facebook or strategizing all day without actually implementing. That's what a lot of us end up doing, is we just end up spinning our wheels wondering where are we going to go next. And so as I go through this, I'll give you guys the basic steps, but I want you to use your own art, put your art into this, and figure out how you would structure this. Because we've got our coolest event ever. It's going to be the Best Go Wellness event of my life coming up this weekend. And I know many of you on the seminar today are going to be joining us, and I can't wait. There's a couple of you who have not registered yet, so I want you to register and get out to that. But you'll get all the nuts and bolts of putting together just this beautiful medical model. And I was trying to name it because functional medicine is not functional medicine. It's not traditional medicine. It's a mix of traditional Chinese medicine, functional medicine with chiro, with everything. When you look at our model, I mean, it's biohacking. It's A to Z is what we're looking at when it comes to creating medicine of the future. But the only way that this medicine's going to be transforming is if we actually get in front of people and if people know about us. And I know from my statistics, the research that we've done, the best way, one of the best ways, well, the number one best way to get new patients and to transform somebody's life is through a referral source. So patient referral. The second best way, and in some ways, for some people, depending on what their perceptions are, the second best way is through medical referral. So either a medical doctor, a chiropractor, somebody on that vein, when they refer, the person's ready to go. And I can't tell you how many times when a patient came in from Dr. Henry, there was no question. Whatever I said, they would go through with it. And I had this little kind of like prescription pad where I'd write a treatment plan down for the patient, and then I'd ask them to give that to Dr. Henry next time they saw him. And they always did. Dr. Henry, I assume he appreciated it. He didn't really seem too concerned about that aspect or about me stealing his patients at all. But in this process, what I find is that it made my ability to help this person 10 times easier, because for those of you who have heard me talk about placebo or done any research on it, placebo, even if someone is going into acupuncture and they've got this mindset that it's going to help them, they actually do get better results. Even if you look at the study that was done, I talked about this in our report of findings training, and it's going to be a little bit of it is talked about in your latest Kanye manual. But if you look at the placebo, even people who know that they're receiving a placebo still can have an effect from the placebo, even though they know all they're getting is like cornstarch and sugar or some filler. They still have an effect. And so placebo is so powerful. But when you have a medical referral that sends somebody your way and they sit down in your office, they're 10 times more likely to want to do something with you. They want to work with you, no matter how awkward you may be in that first initial consultation. So let's jump into it. So mindset. The very first thing is the person with the strongest intention gets the result. So what are you looking at? What kind of result do you want to get when you walk into a medical clinic? The first result I want to get is I want to make sure that I'm dressed sharp. I'm my image is there. My image matches what message I'm trying to deliver. And I know many of us, we dress the way we dress, and that's cool. But you know, dress a little more conservatively when you go into these places. You don't have to put a bow tie on or a suit or anything like that, but go in there with an intention to get the results. And so, you know, the way you dress has a massive impact on the way you think and the way you feel. And it also has a dramatic impact on the way people think about you, or their perceptions of you. It's sad but true. You know, you've had patients who have walked into your office and they have food all over their pants and shirt, and you're just like, man, you know, I don't, they stink or whatever, and it's hard to you know, think, well, I bet I can educate this person and get them to, you know, completely change their lifestyle. You probably know instantly that's going to be a barrier, but it's not always true. But we do judge a book by its cover, unfortunately, and so the way you can get a very strong intention is dress sharp, look sharp, have a great image. You want to have a great interest, a genuine interest in creating a relationship. You're not just going in there to get their business. You're actually going in with a completely different mindset of who can I refer to them. And this is the giving before receiving. So in the Bible, it says, "Ask and you shall receive." In 2017, I would say, "Give and you shall receive." So give, you know, give them a gift. I bring my books. So your health transformation. If you guys have copies of my book, happy to have that in anyone's office. I'm telling you that that book is a new patient lead generating machine. People love it when they read it. They get inspired by it. They feel like there's other answers. Doctors read it and they love it. So you know, bring my book or bring some type of gift with you. If you've got your clinic brochures, that's great. But I like to bring a book, and then we ask if we can put a few books in their waiting rooms so their patients can read them, and you know, if people want them, they can just take it home with them. And then, of course, we have our business card in the front. We've got a little referral card too. So when you go in, you're going to be thinking about how you can help these people. And just going in with that attitude is going to help you have more of an extroverted mindset. A lot of us acupuncturists, chiros, a lot of us holistic healthcare providers, we tend to be a little more introverted. We just would prefer to sip on a cup of tea and kind of hang back. But this is a time where you've really got to be gregarious and get out there. Let them know you're with a local functional medicine clinic, or acupuncture clinic, or chiropractic clinic. A wellness clinic is actually pretty general and broad, and that will cover everything. It's one of the reasons we're called Go Wellness, because wellness is pretty all-encompassing. It shows the ability to stay healthy and stay fit in spite of all the stresses that come at us. Go in there, and then don't expect to be greeted with this great big smile, because, you know, part of the reason we're in this healthcare crisis is because the medical system, they're grumpy. Their bedside manner is poor. The communication, the administrative staff, you know, they're not always excited to see any type of solicitor at all. But one thing I can tell you is that primary care practices are being made obsolete. The hospitals are buying up the big institutions, and to be a primary care doctor these days is going to be, it's difficult to keep the lights on. And so just like you're looking for new patients, they're looking for new patients. And I can tell you, when you hand off a new patient to that doctor, they're gonna really respect you, and they're going to appreciate that. So all right, so you're being more introverted. You walk in there, let them know where you're from. Don't let rejection get to you. If you have more than, if you go to 5 clinics and you get rejected by each one of those, stop. Don't do any more. Same with phone calls. If you're calling people, doing you know, maybe you're doing some reactivation calls and you're just getting shut down, well, don't, because that's gonna, I mean, it's gonna wreck your confidence. Unless you've done your Strengths Finder assessment, which it's on the Gallup Strengths Finder, and you have self-assurance is your #1 strength, then be careful. Don't go more than 5. My number one strength is self-assurance, so I've taken a lot of rejection in life, and I've had enough yeses to keep me in the game, which I love. So, all right, don't let rejection get to you. Have your game face, look sharp, speak very clearly, but go in with 100% intention to make a lasting impression and a lasting relationship with them. One thing I didn't realize about Dr. Henry is that I would have this like career-long reputation that was created, and this relationship, and all it took is me just being brave and pretending to be a pharmaceutical rep. So maybe you guys could go in there and say you're from Pfizer or Bayer or something like that, and you know you've got free drug samples, all the OxyContin they need, any benzos, you know, you're welcome to, you know, freely distribute it to the staff. No, I'm joking. Don't do that. But all right, so here's a procedure. Step number 1, get a list of all your primary care physicians, general docs, internists, chiros, yoga studios, pharmacies to go visit. Now, one thing we've started, speaking of pharmacies, is we are networking with a company and with a university pharmacy, and they're a pharmacy just up the street from my Salt Lake clinic. And when they go around to different doctors' offices, urologists, whatever, they'll actually put in a plug for East West. And they'll just say, hey, are you looking for you know, stem cell therapy, acupuncture, you know, more bioidentical hormones, holistic medicine, functional medicine? And anyone who's looking for that, they have our contact info, and they have this cool little referral system that they do, and then they go in as a rep for the pharmacy. They're already visiting doctors all day long. So if any of you have a compounding pharmacy around you, you want to go network with them immediately, especially if you have like medical staff doing some of the compounded hormones. Even if you don't, a lot of the compounding pharmacies, they actually are the pharmacists are much easier to work with than primary care physicians, especially if they're a compounding pharmacy, because there's very few of them. The FDA cracked down on the compounding pharmacies, and like the FDA, or the FBI was raiding like multiple compounding pharmacies, shutting them down left and right. They started this in about 2013, and it was just like mayhem. So a lot of the compounding pharmacists have been leery. But the ones who survived, the ones that were compliant, they're great referral sources, because they're like a network for all the doctors, and they're constantly trying to get business, because pharmaceutical industry is very profitable. So get a list of all those. Find out who you like. I like the compounding pharmacists because they carry supplements, vitamins. They know a lot about herbs. When they know that I'm a Chinese herbologist, they really appreciate that, even though I'm white. And so you want to make sure that you're finding people that you want to connect with. Okay, that's the step 1. Get the list and make it big, so that you're just like, okay, if the pharmacist is not there, I'm going to the PCP. If the PCP is not there, I'm going to the ortho clinic. Ortho's not there, I'm going to the internist. Internist's not there, I'm going to chiro. Yoga, I'm going to just go to a yoga class just so I can, you know, hit them up as doing an event at their yoga studio. Or I need private yoga instruction for some of my patients, because remember, you're thinking about all the people we refer to, and we don't do primary care. Even though we have our physicians, both of them have been primary care doctors for over 15 years. They're great at it, but that's not something we want to do. So, you know, the great thing we're going to do is we're going to go in there and we're going to refer people for primary care. Hey, we want to get some basic labs ran, and we want to do it through our patient's insurance, and so you can send it to their PCP at the time. All right, and then the second thing you're going to do once you've got your list, then you just got to get it on. That's the hardest thing, is blocking out time to do these extracurricular activities. Block out 1 to 2 hours every week. You can go meet with people, follow up with them, but put it in your schedule and just force yourself to do that, because what's going to happen is you're going to get stuck in your office. The phone's going to ring, those variabilities are going to show up, you're going to have the patient that just randomly calls or shows up at your clinic, and it's going to derail you from this very important activity. I would have to say, in marketing, this is one of the most important things that you can do, and it's the safest. It's not going to cost you money, And man, your reputation, once you become more well known, it's going to blossom. Okay, so block out 1 to 2 hours. Number three, gather referral packets. So get your referral packets, include copies of your health transformation or whatever book. Um, and then leave 5 in every office. Any kind of gift bag is helpful. Don't forget the practice assessment forms, because you're going to give them a practice assessment or a patient referral form for them to fill out so that you can find out what types of things they refer to. So you're going to ask them all about their patients. What types of patients do they like the best? Do they just like primary care? Are there certain conditions that they specialize in? Do they prefer treating diabetes? And you can just make this form to fit the criteria of the patients that you can actually refer to them. And then you're gonna make sure you have the cards, the pamphlets. Everything needs to be prepared before you go, because remember, the person with the strongest intention wins. If you're not prepared, your intention weakens and you don't win the game. It's same with the report of findings. I mean, when we did the report of findings training in February, I think it's probably the biggest takeaway that people got is just having the intention that that person's going to close, and you're going to handle every objection, everything A to Z that needs to be handled in a very professional, kind, gentle manner, but matter of fact as well. So be prepared when you go in there. Number four, you're going to walk into the office and ask to speak to the referral coordinator or to the doctor. A lot of times, if it's not a referral coordinator that runs the referrals, it's going to be the office manager, because if you think of a primary care physician, and it really depends on the office you go to. Now, most of the time, you're not going to go into a chiropractic office or a naturopathic office or an acupuncture clinic and ask for a referral coordinator. We just don't have those types of people working for us, because we handle everything. We don't have to refer them out, but you got to realize that most clinics, even the specialty clinics, someone gets referred to urology, and then urology is saying, well, I think there's something wrong with your heart. You need to go see a cardiologist. And the cardiologist will say, well, I think this is a neurological issue. You need to go see a neurologist. So even in the specialty clinics, they're to multiple places. When I worked, the 7 years I worked at a neurology clinic, we had just one medical assistant, and that was her sole focus, is just referring patients to whatever specialty or back to their primary care, just communicating between that office and the office they're referring them to. So ask for a referral coordinator. If they don't have a referral coordinator, okay, can I speak to your office manager, or I'd like to speak with the doctor if the doctor is available. And then just let them know your intentions. I'm just here because I'm looking for a practice that I can refer patients to. Are you accepting new patients? And I'm telling you, when you ask them that question, imagine if someone walked into your question, Nam, and they say, Nam, are you guys accepting new patients? I mean, what are you going to do? Are you going to, like, well, no, I can't talk to you right now, I'm with patients, or are you going to stop everything you're doing and spend 5 minutes with that person and be like, absolutely. I mean, Stephanie, I know you would stop everything you're doing. If you had a patient waiting for you, you'd say, excuse me 1 minute, let me just tell my patient I'll be right in. And you would drop everything so that you could say, yes, we're taking new patients. How can I help you? And so this is the difference in getting a result. And pharmaceutical reps are brilliant at creating relationships. They go into offices all the time. For those of you who have worked in a typical Western primary care clinic or specialty clinic, you'll see that the pharmaceutical reps are just in and out of there all day long. They're bringing lunch, they're bringing drug samples, and they'll get you drunk if you want to. They'll take you golfing. I mean, and a lot of them are very sincere in their approach, and that's why they're good at what they do. But they are trained to know the exact prototype and personality type of the doctor that they're seeing. They do a lot of background research, and they go in there and they just create relationships. They just smooth with the doctor. The doctor build trust. They're not too obnoxious. They bring when they come in. I mean, there's a reason why we spend more money on marketing than research in the pharmaceutical world, but part of it is just creating relationships with doctors. Over the last 5 years, this has really waned a lot because doctors are now skeptical and they've put up policies with pharmaceutical reps. And so now the pharmaceutical companies are marketing directly to you, the consumer, to all your patients out there. And you know, for the most part, they're still kicking ass. There's more people on medications now than there ever has been, you know, as a percentage per capita. So as the population grows, we're not just, you know, adding more medications. I mean, our prescription writing is just getting insane. So anyway, you're going to walk in there, you're going to say, I'm looking for a practice that we can refer patients to. Are you accepting new patients? They say yes. You say, great. I see that your doctor specializes in blank, or, you know, I notice you guys are an endocrine clinic, you're an endocrinologist, and so I imagine you do work for thyroids, you do work for adrenal health, and, you know, especially for those of you who are treating thyroids and you want to run more comprehensive testing, if you want insurance to cover like a complete thyroid panel, your patient has to be, if they're under 33 or 34, they have to see an endocrinologist in order for insurance to cover it, just FYI. So that may be a reason to send them off to an endocrinologist if they're young and they're exhibiting signs of Hashimoto's or Graves'. Then, you know, it's and you want to use their insurance, then, you know, an endocrinologist would be a great place to send them. Okay, so, you know, you figure out whatever they specialize in. We are an integrated specialty clinic that offers acupuncture, nutrition, regenerative medicine, functional medicine, and we don't offer the services that you do here. So they're like, well, who are you and why are you asking about new patients? You're saying, well, hey, we've got patients. We've got a very busy clinic. We're just around the corner from you. No, always looking to create relationships and meet my colleagues and physicians around the area. So I would like, if you don't mind, I'd like to leave a referral application for the doctor to fill out, or a practice assessment, and this will allow us to get to know more about your clinic and your services. Would that be all right? And then they'll say, yeah, for sure. You know, that's all I need. I just want to get more information, and I need the doctor to fill this out so that I can get everything A to Z from the doctor that I need. So when I refer somebody, I make sure I'm sending them to the right place. Do you mind if I leave this referral application for the doctor to fill out, and then once he fills it out, we can set up a follow-up visit where I can come back in the next couple of days, and all I need is 5 to 10 minutes with the doctor. If anyone else is on the team is available, that would be great, and I'd love to meet with all of you guys. And they're going to keep this appointment because they want new patients just like you do. And remember, the real key to this is you're going to also be sending patients to them, and you're going to be following up. And so one of the keys that you want to make sure is when a doctor goes in, and when you go back for that follow-up visit, you go back in there, and what's going to happen is you're going to sit down with the doctor and you're going to say, okay, well, these are the conditions you treat. So I notice you specialize in diabetes, you specialize in hormones, obesity, and then you do a lot of what looks like pain management treatments. Is that correct? And on the form, he's going to have boxes to check off. So I notice you refer to acupuncture. Do you have somebody you're referring to now? No, I don't. And the doctor will say, okay, well, that's something I do. Here's, my training. Here's kind of a little bit more information about our clinic. I notice you refer out to chiropractic. Types of conditions do you do? And more than likely they'll say back pain or headaches, and they'll say, well, great. I know that that's big source of patient visits are for back pain. I mean, maybe the second leading cause of patients visiting their doctor is back pain. So yeah, happy to help on that side. We do chiropractic care as well. I'm an acupuncturist, but acupuncture, in Chinese medicine, we invented bone setting anyway, like 3,000 years ago. So why shouldn't I be able to crack somebody's back? I'm just joking, everybody. So your chiros on here freaking out on me, but anyway, so you go in and you just say, like, what do you refer out to? And we want to, and then you're going to be talking to them about those services. And you're going to also be talking about him, like, or her, like, where did you get your education? why did you decide to specialize in endocrinology? What are some of the most common conditions that you're seeing? Where do you get the greatest success? Do you see your practice moving anywhere in the future? And you just, you're talking shop with people who are in our industry and people who would love to meet you. I mean, right now, most doctors probably think we're all aliens practicing holistic medicine, but I'm telling you what, more and more of these doctors are coming out of the closet and really starting to practice functional medicine. They're looking at things from a deeper perspective. So my challenge to you right now is to set a goal of how many clinics you can stop by, because once you stop by there, you make up your own assessment form, whatever you want, so that you can pitch this to doctors in your own voice and make sure that they fill out this assessment. And then what's going to happen is when they refer a patient to you, you're always going to leave on that follow. It's going to tell them that you'll treat the patient no more than 3 months, and then you send them back to the primary care doctor, so the primary care physician can determine how they're doing. You do frequent check-ins, and the more, I always ask the physician, how often would you like us to, kind of keep you up to date on the progress of your patient. Make sure it's their patient. You're not stealing patients from them, or they will never refer to you. So you got to be very clear on that. But once you get an agreement and you keep this consistent, and then you keep following up, you stop back in the office once you've referred somebody. You stop back in. Hey, I sent a patient over here, Bill Smith. Did he show up? No, not yet. Okay, well I'll keep following up on him. But you want to make sure you're doing your part in this building blocks for 10 times the results that you're getting in your practice, because this is not about you just going in and kind of creating a manipulative situation just to get referrals. This is actually you having give and take, and you'll find that the discussions you have with the doctors are very intriguing. They're going to want to know more about you, and before you know it, you'll have a relationship with the doctor who could maybe start doing stem cells in your clinic. Or maybe they'll start working with you on the functional medicine side, or they'll, we can't wait for them to come to us. We've got to go to them, and that's really how we can transform healthcare in America. So, any questions that anyone has? Hopefully this has been helpful. How many clinics are you guys going to go visit? Just type it in on your screen real quick. Let me know how many offices you could visit this week. What office could you go in and visit this week? Even if you don't follow all the steps, how many do you think you could visit? Good. So, yeah, I mean, I hope everybody put down at least 3 to 5. And then just think about the last doctor who came to see you. If you're like, oh, I have no idea where to start, well, just find that patient that you love and look on their medical records and find out who their primary care doctor is, and that's who you're going to start with. So hope this has been helpful. You guys make sure you make it out to session 1 this weekend. We'll continue on this, and we're going to go through all of the marketing directors, the roles, the responsibility, the checklist for marketing director, case manager, office manager. So we're going to really bolster up those roles in your clinic, because that's where you can really grow fast. We're going to be talking about putting the art back into the medicine. On the functional medicine boot camp side, we're going to have presentations on digestive issues. We're going to have presentations on and autoimmunity. The whole focus is more autoimmunity. Dr. Taylor is going to take us through kind of a thinking game, a thinking format for reading functional blood chemistry, so that you can determine, the ratios of your immune cells, your eosinophils, basophils, neutrophils, making sure those ratios are all corrected. And then you're also going to hear from Alyssa Best, our nurse practitioner. She's going to be talking about bioidentical hormones, which I know a lot of you are like, whoa, Reagan's allowing that on stage. But yeah, I think it's time that I really embrace the fact that there are certain patients, maybe 1 in 8,550, that just don't quite get the response from herbs that I'd like. And that's where bioidentical really can change somebody's health and life. So Alyssa will be talking about that. And then Spencer has put together a pretty incredible format on traditional herbs. So if you want to know more about bacopa, about kanna, about mitra leaf, about some of the herbal formulas that are, they're found all over the planet, Spencer's going to be talking about that. And then on Sunday, we're going to go through all of the projects, the 7 projects. Sunday is Implementation City. So Sunday will be 9 to noon. It's going to be very hands-on, very role-playish. This is where you're actually going to get your work done. Saturday, you're going to learn all day. You're going to be just enlightened. And then Sunday, we're going to get right back to work. So you go back Monday, ready to rock. Anyway, Kay, do you have anything else for the group today?
I do not have anything in particular. Let's see.
How do you like the medical referral program? How many clinics can you guys visit?
We can visit a ton down here, so I got some good stuff. I at least got about 5 listed, so yeah, we got some good stuff. Awesome.
Good. What do you like most about that new program?
It's free.
Free marketing, yes.
Free, and then referrals. Like whenever we get someone in that was referred from a practitioner or doctor or any other place, they're usually, or I would say 99% of the time, they're really on board and they'll listen. You kind of eliminate that skeptic side of things, so it's almost like it's a form of pre-education.
Yeah.
You don't have to work as hard at the beginning to get them engaged and feeling like, hey, we're the we know what we're talking about, because it was already established by whoever was referred. Similar to a patient referral, but I think it's even better because they trust their doctor, whoever referred them. It's great.
Yeah, yeah, and even we've seen with Dr. Oakton down there when he refers a patient for stem cells, even though he's the guy doing it, but when he refers them from his primary care, ready, they come with a credit card, just ready to roll.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, cool. Hopefully this helped everybody. I know a lot of the marketing we train you on. There is a little investment. This one, it just takes saddling up that horse, getting on it, riding it into the clinic, and going and making a great impression for yourself. So, love you guys. Can't wait to see you this weekend. And tell your friends about us and get more people engaged in transforming healthcare in America. We can do it as a group and as a team.
Thanks, everybody. You have an awesome one. Remember, email us info@gowellness.com, and let's meet up. Let's talk. Let's get strategizing on how to get your clinic to the next level. Bye-bye.